Hey guys, so today I really wanted to get back into a chatty book video with you all. It's been a while since I've done a bookish related video here. And today I really wanted to do the end of the year book tag and talk about some plans that I have for reading for both the rest of the year. It's actually Thanksgiving today, so happy late Thanksgiving to you all. And soon it's going to be Christmas, which means it's also going to be a new year soon. And do I still have my Halloween decor up? Yes, I do. I mean, listen, I love Halloween. Halloween's my favorite holiday, so no matter what time of the year it is, I'm always going to have something spooky up. But yeah, I definitely need to start taking these down and switch them up with either Christmas or just something else. But anyway, besides that, today's video we're going to talk about some of the books that I have been reading, that I am going to be finishing before the year's over, and some plans that I'm going to hopefully commit to next year. I keep saying that in these videos and it just doesn't happen, but hopefully next year they actually do come to fruition, because I am actually starting to really enjoy reading again. Freaking round of applause to me, because Jesus, it's been a rough year for reading for me, honestly. So, the first question on the end of the year book tag is, what are books that you've started and need to finish before the year is over? So, for me, I actually have a few books. I have 3 books that I've started. The first one I started was A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. And I am currently on page 22. I'm barely on chapter 2. I started this back in, I think, like October. I was reading this for spooky season because of the spooky vibes that it was getting. And I'm really, really loving it. Like, even though I'm literally only on page 2 of the second chapter, I'm really loving it. But it is a little bit more dense, and it does take a while for me to really read it and kind of understand it, just because of the writing style and the language that it uses. And it's not totally difficult to read or understand, but in comparison to a romance book or a Kindle Unlimited book or something, it does take a little bit more time for me to actually read, and I do have to slow down a bit. But I am absolutely loving it. I think this has the potential to be a really high rating for me, just because it is centering around the female rage or female desires, females' rights and wrongs, and anything that involves women, or it's women centered, and it's talking about all of the societal expectations and difficulties that women have to face, I'm Always Going to Love. And this one is definitely taking on a dark twist to that. And is the character, the best character? Are they the best person in the world? Definitely not. But I think that's why I'm also really enjoying it. So I'm definitely thinking about finishing that. I don't know if I'll get to it by the end of the year, but I do want to continue it for sure. I'm not DNFing it or anything like that. And then the second book that I started reading, also around the spooky season back in October, was Death is My BFF by Katarina E. Tonks. And for this one, I am on chapter 8. On chapter 8, page 107. And I am absolutely loving this. This was originally a Wattpad book, as you can see right there. And I read it back when I was in high school. Absolutely fell in love with it. Definitely shaped my interests and kind of made me recognize the fact that I love spooky, gothic, horror genre, and just entertainment in general. And this is edited now. Like it's been kind of like rewritten a little bit, or it's been edited so that it could be traditionally published. So it is, I guess, better per se. In that sense, it's better, but it also still holds the essence and the core of the original story from what I remember when I first read it back in high school. And I'm having such a fun time because it's totally taken me back to when I first fell in love with it. And there's just so many things that I'm, remembering and recognizing, and I'm laughing out loud. I'm connecting the dots that I did not see when I first read it, obviously because it was my first time going into it, so I didn't know where the story was going or the twists and the turns that it was going to take. But now that I know them, I'm able to identify the kind of foreshadowing that's happening in here, and I am absolutely loving it. And again, I love that it's still staying true to what it was in the original, and it's not completely different, or it's not completely changed. And I definitely recommend it because it's just like such a fun time, and it's such an easy read. Like, this is one of those books where you just want to keep freaking turning the pages over and over again. And the eeriness that we are getting with the character of the Grim Reaper, if you couldn't tell, it's the Grim Reaper. I'm absolutely loving it. But yeah, so that's the second book that I started. Definitely going to finish that. Again, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to it before the year is over. Hopefully I can, just because it is a quick read, but I don't know, we'll see. And then the other book that I started, I actually started one and I finished it. When did I finish it? I think last month. I finished it like last month, or I finished it early in November. But I started reading Binding 13 on Kindle Unlimited. And how did I even find this book? I think I just saw someone like talk about it on like Instagram, where they were like quoting it or something. And I was like, you know what? Let me just check it out. Let me just start reading it and see if I like it. Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna like it. It might be one of those like books where it's like I might not mesh with the writing style, because with Kindle Unlimited books, I don't always vibe with the writing style. Like, I'm very picky. And at first, I wasn't really vibing with it, to be honest. Like, that first chapter, I was like, I don't really know if I want to continue, but I kind of just powered through it, and I'm so glad I did, because I absolutely fell in love with it. I finished that book, and now I am reading the second book. It's a duology. I'm reading the second, so like the final book for those two specific characters. And I am, what chapter am I on? I am on chapter 46, page 335. I have this much to read, basically. So I'm almost done with it. And yeah, I mean, I gave the first one, Binding 13, 5 stars. Pretty sure I'm gonna give this one 5 stars too. If not, maybe like a 4 or 4.5. And it's probably gonna be like my favorite book of the year, honestly. So I'm just loving it so much, and it's exactly what I needed and what I wanted right now, because I just wanted something that I was going to be able to just kind of fly through and just get sucked in. And it is one of those books that's just so easy to read. The characters are so diverse. There's so many characters. It's like a group of friends. They're in high school. It takes place in Ireland. I didn't know this, but apparently this series actually kind of popped off on TikTok, or on Book Talk specifically. I had absolutely no idea. Like, that, when I saw it on Instagram, that was like the first time I heard of it. But apparently almost everybody and their mother knows about this, and I'm just late to the party. But I'm glad I'm here, because I'm having a grand old time. And I love that, the fact that it takes place in Ireland, and there's a bunch of Irish slang and like the Irish culture, and I'm learning so much of that too, because I've never read a book set in Ireland before. And like I said, the characters are so diverse. They're so like gray. Like, nothing is black or white in here, and the characters have gone through so much, and they keep going through so much, and it's just like such a great story. It's very hard at times to read because, trigger warning for the series, it does involve family domestic violence. So you do see that, and you do see the characters struggle through that and kind of try to survive and try to live past that. So it does talk about that, and yeah, I mean, it's just such a fun time. Like, I'm absolutely loving it. So this one for sure I'm be finishing before the year is over, 1000%. So the second question now for the tag is an autumnal book to transition for the end of the year. And I have 2 books in mind, which were already previously talked about on some of my other like TBR videos. And one of them being Wuthering Heights, which is definitely very autumnal. I mean, we're pretty much almost over. Like, autumn is almost over, I'm pretty sure. Doesn't winter start in like December or something? So I know this is transition, autumnal book to transition with, but we are going more into the cold weather, the cold season. But I feel like this is still a pretty good book, atmospheric book to kind of end the year with, at least from what I've heard. And I did start it technically. I see now there's a bookmark in here. I only read the first chapter, and I don't really remember what happened. I think we were just pretty much introduced to the characters, so I would have to start it over again, because I think I started this back in like early this year. But this is a classic that I've been meaning to read for years now, and I just keep pushing it off. But this is definitely something that I would love to get to relatively soon. Am I going to get to it before the year is over? Probably not, but I honestly wouldn't be too upset about that, and I would be down to kind of start the new year with a classic. I think that'd be a pretty fun time, and a good way to kind of move on from like more easier reads, or like more page turner like this. And then the other book that I feel like would be a really good transition into the winter season specifically, again from what I hear, is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And I don't know if it's the cover per se and just like the star that you see, but this just gives me winter vibes. I have absolutely no idea if it takes place during winter or anything like that. I do know that it is very atmospheric. People have described it as such. And this is a very popular, beloved book by readers just everywhere. Also late to the party. But yeah, this is another one. I've had this book since like 2018, 2019. I still haven't read it. So this is definitely one that I need to read. And it is a series. There's 3 books in this series, and then there's also kind of like a spin-off companion series of sorts with Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I also really want to get to because I also saw people raving about it. But yeah, I feel like this would be a really good one to just kind of tick off my TBR list, especially my physical TBR list, which is what I've been trying to do more. I'm really trying not to buy new books or read too many new releases. I'm trying to kind of read what I already have and what I've already bought. So yeah, so this would be another good one to get to, hopefully, before the year's over, or at least like in the new year. The third question is a new release that you are waiting for. I honestly don't really keep up with new releases, but the only one that I can really think of is the manga A Sign of Affection, which is like become my favorite manga ever. And I think the 9th and the 10th book is out already. I'm pretty sure. I don't own them yet. I did read them though, because I read them online when they were published. but I don't really remember what happened, so I'm definitely going to be buying those because I am collecting that series. And I'll probably be rereading it too because that's just also such a cozy read for me, and it's just so comforting and cute, precious. Like, I love those characters. I've been raving about that series pretty much this whole year, I think. So that would be, like, I guess, a newer release that I'm looking forward to continuing, and obviously the future volumes as well, eventually once they come out. But yeah, I can't really think of any other ones, to be honest, or of any ones that are coming out soon. And again, I'm trying to really read the books that I already own that have come out this year and past year, so not really too focused on new releases, if I'm being honest. So the next question would be 3 books to read by the end of the year. I mean, pretty much the 3 books that I am currently in the middle of. But I would also really like to read Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. I read their book, If We Were Villains, back in like 2020. Really loved it. Gave it a 5 stars. Such a great, like, what is it? Like, homage to Shakespeare and the plays. And that's also another beloved book that a lot of people have talked about on BookTube and Book Talk. And I know The Graveyard Shift is a novella, so it's gonna be short, so I feel like I would be able to read that by the end of the year. And I would be really interested in doing so soon because I believe I have it checked out from the library on Libby. And I would just really like to know if that's a potential, like, new favorite author, because I do really like their writing style from what I remember from If We Were Villains. And of course, the books that I just mentioned too, Wuthering Heights, Caraval. I don't know if I'll be able to finish them necessarily, but I would love to read those. Oh, and also, I forgot to mention, I did start listening to the audiobook of Slewfoot, which, again, is not really like a Christmassy, wintry book necessarily. Like, that's definitely more spooky, Halloweeny. But I started listening to it because it came through from the library. Absolutely loving it. I am loving it. And I would really like to finish that before the end of the year, and I think it is doable because I could definitely listen to it while doing something else, like cleaning my room or crocheting or doing some other hobby. And yeah, I would love to finish that as well. So the 5th question would be a book. What's a book that you think would shock you and become a favorite? I kind of already mentioned that. It's Binding 13. I already know that's a 5 star. That's gonna be my favorite book of this year, and it really did shock me because of how I felt when I first started reading it. I wasn't really not I wasn't vibing with it, but just the way the first, like, chapter was written. It was very much like telling instead of showing you, and I don't really like that in writing. But once I pushed through, like, it's really just like the first chapter, like the first, like, 2/3 of the first chapter, and then it goes into like a really nice writing style where it, like, shows you a lot, and it's also dual perspective, which I love. The more perspectives, the better, especially when the characters are so diverse and, like, just personality. So that's a book that definitely shocked me because I did not expect to love it or even read it, honestly, like, finish it. So that would be the one. And then I feel like A Certain Hunger might be one to also shock me. And also, I think Caraval has the potential to be a 5 star and a favorite. I really hope it is. I really want it to be, honestly. Just because, I don't know, like, I have a feeling, and I don't know, maybe that's why I've been putting it off for so long, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be a favorite. Let's hope it's true. It's all hope. Right, and then the last question would be, what are the reading plans for 2025? And like I said, I really want to cut back on my physical TBR, start reading all of the books on this shelf, and it continues down, you can't see, but it keeps going. Read and just figure out if I'm going to like them and if I'm going to want to keep them. And I also still have some books from the Bookish box subscriptions that I was subscribed to in the past that I also really need to get to. A lot of them are YA, which I don't really gravitate towards anymore. Besides this, this is technically YA, but it's definitely like more YA, like new adult, I feel like, just because of the maturity of the characters and the mature content. But yeah, I don't really gravitate towards a young adult, especially like young adult. So I do really want to kind of go through and figure out if I still want to keep those books and give them a shot, or if I kind of just want to maybe donate them or sell them. Because I do want to make more room, and I just want to make sure that the books that I do own are like top favorites, or books that I absolutely enjoy and have like special memories attached to them. And I'm not going to figure that out unless I start reading them. So I think that's going to be a plan for next year, and it might be fun to do some kind of series with it. I know a lot of people have been doing like read it or on haul it kind of videos. So maybe something like that would be really nice, just to kind of keep me accountable. And I mean, other than that, I think it's really just kind of just listening more to the mood that I'm in and what I want to read, as opposed to what I think I should be reading. I think that kind of happened with Binding 13, where I was just in the mood for like a fun, quick, like not what I thought it was going to be, not serious read, but it turned out to be very serious read. But just kind of listening to what I want to read and just reading that like immediately, as opposed to like waiting for the right moment or waiting for the right season. I do that a lot, especially with my spooky gothic reads, where I'm like, okay, I need to read this in like September, October, because that is the season. But it's like I do that and then I don't end up reading them. So I need to kind of just jump the gun on whatever book I do get and kind of just go into it and just see if I am going to like it or not. But yeah, I think those are kind of the main goals that I have for myself. And just to make sure that I do keep up with the reading, even if it's just like 50 pages a day, or like set aside maybe like an hour or so every other day, a few days a week, just to read, and also just to get away from like social media, because I am very much like always in YouTube and stuff. Yeah, so that is basically my plans for the rest of the year and how the end of the year is looking in terms of reading, and also a little sneak peek into what I plan to do for next year. And hopefully I just continue to really like reading again and just find books that I just enjoy. Like, that's ultimately what I want anyway. But yeah, but that would be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Hopefully I can make a few more reading related videos too, because I really miss doing this content specifically. But yeah, but I'll see you in the next one. Bye!